Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me to join this very important effort, a groundbreaking effort. For the first time, probably, in my knowledge, two open universities have come together to launch an online-based capacity building program for faculty members. Perhaps such collaborations happened in the past, but I see this as a very good venture in terms of two OUs coming together, initiating this process. I only hope that this would be emulated by other open universities. And I see that both NSOU and UOU are champions of collaboration and partnerships. I'm sure this would be extended to other open universities and other geographies as well. Having said that, I would like to thank dear Professor Indrajit Lagari, the Vice Chancellor of Netaji Subhash Open University, and dear Professor OPS Negi, Vice Chancellor of Uttarakhand Open University, for inviting me to join this effort as one of your speakers in the inaugural session. This effort would not have been possible unless our dear Professor Jitendra Pandey and Professor Anirban Ghosh not put together such an interesting interwoven partnership between UOU and NSOU. These two professors have been very innovative in bringing like-minded individuals together in terms of co-learning and knowledge sharing. Thank you, dear Professor Ritu Mathur Mitra and Professor Ashutosh Bhatt for coordinating this important effort. I think you are setting a new yardstick, a kind of a milestone, which would set a kind of a good benchmark for not only UOU and NSOU to measure the success, but also stand as an exemplar for, as I mentioned, other universities to emulate. I wish to thank all the participants who are likely to be very busy over the period of 1 week, actually spending their valuable evenings 7 to 9 p.m. and today an extra 1 hour in this inaugural session for being together. And this is phenomenal. I think, quite a few of us would like to do many other things in the evenings, but somehow I see that close to 60, 70 people who have joined us today have, decided to dedicate their time in coming together and co-learning on an important topic, which is strategies for developing outcome-based curriculum and utilizing digital tools in education, which is a very important topic. And it is also nice to see that one of the most powerful digital tools since the pandemic, at least I would say, Zoom, is being used to carry out this entire week-long session fully online. So this is a great testament to the use and the utilization of digital tools for developing educational strategies. So well done, colleagues. And I would like to mention all those who are involved in this organizing this effort, including the a good battery of trainers who you seem to have attracted from Stride, IGNO, from NIPA, the two professors from NIPA, from IIT Kharagpur, and from St. Xavier's, Kolkata, and our own Dr. Papia Upadhyaya, who would join you as resource persons, to basically take everyone through quite a good journey. I wish I had the time to join each and every day to learn, something really new, but unfortunately, as time would have it, I won't be able to join. But today, with this opportunity, I would like to not only congratulate you, but also mention how significant it is that you are carrying out this program at a time when we are looking to basically combining skills and competencies necessary for our learners to thrive in the 21st century marketplace. It is only possible with the innovative approaches of this kind. And when it comes to OBE, the outcome-based education, I think it's a greater methodology for one to transform the educational landscape, as mentioned by Professor Jitendra Pandey. Also, the significance of OBE is quite outlined in the National Education Policy 2020, where it provides a very detailed framework for transforming Indian education through pedagogical approaches such as the OBE. So, congratulations again for bringing it at a very timely effort, as a very timely effort in getting the faculty members and the non-faculty members as well to understand what is OBE and how digital tools could be employed in terms of achieving outcome-based education. Now, I mentioned about NEP 2020, and NEP 2020 sees OBE not as a methodology, mere methodology or a pedagogical issue, but as a philosophy. And if you look at NEP 2020, it flips the coin, and where the philosophy is placed squarely on the learners. Learners are at the center of gaining the education experience that one deserves. So it's very important for us to understand that OBE, outcome-based education, is supportive of NEP in terms of translating its philosophy of placing learners at the center of learning and also gaining education experience. Experience is an important word here. OBE is a methodology for us to achieving it. But NEP 2020 also sees OBE to achieve the much desired holistic and multidisciplinary approach to education. Now, on one hand, NEP flips the coin by putting learners at the center, not content or the knowledge at the center. But NEP also talks about or emphasizes upon the holistic development, holistic and interdisciplinary approach to education in terms of enabling learners to develop their intellectual, aesthetic, social, physical, emotional, and moral capabilities. So this is very interesting and important because until for a long time, maybe 200 years, we produced good engineers, good chemists, good physicians, or good botanists. We never thought that in the higher education arena, we would be developing individuals with intellectual, aesthetic, social, physical, emotional, and moral capabilities. So this is on and above the knowledge. That's why NEP is groundbreaking, where it flips the coin from content and knowledge-centered approach to more learner-centered approach. So the learner is expected to be intellectually capable, aesthetic, socially relevant and oriented, emotionally connected, and one with moral capabilities. So that's something that we want to think through when it comes to OBE. So OBE therefore calls for an interdisciplinary approach. So it's not just scientists becoming, just studying science, or humanists just studying humanities, but we are calling for an interdisciplinary approach and thinking in our education system where we can combine humanities, arts, social sciences, STEM education, vocational subject, all this to foster communication, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving. So, quite a few things are loaded here. On one hand, we say NEP flips the coin, places the learner at the center. We also say NEP wants to give importance to that individual who would be morally, ethically, emotionally, physically, in all sense, would be somebody very significant who would become a lifelong learner, but also a global citizen. But we are also talking about, in terms of equipping this individual, we want to see that this individual is interdisciplinary in thinking, where a person combines several streams of learning, where he or she is able to apply communication, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving as the mantra. So you're talking about soft skills, you're talking about 21st century skills, we are talking about subject specific skills, but learned in an interdisciplinary manner so that a person who comes out of our tertiary system is very well rounded, equipped to deal with the challenges that emerge in the 21st century, including upkeeping of the value system, ethical conduct, and social engagement and environmental consciousness. So all these things are very important because, as we speak today, COP29 has kicked off at Baku, and all the countries are coming together to understand how they can deal with this phenomenon called climate change. And in the recent past, we have witnessed many companies, many industries and marketplaces having to take up what they call ESG very seriously. So environmental, social, and governance systems very seriously. And even if you look at the SDG 17 goals, unlike the MDG goals, SDGs have combined all the three: social, economical, and environmental, what they call the triple bottom line. So today's individual is not good enough if he or she is a doctor or an engineer, but if that same person is able to upkeep the value system, ethical conduct, social engagement, and environmental consciousness, that person is going to be much more valuable to society rather than being a mere somebody. So that's where OBE is really placed. So the core elements of OBE, outcome-based education, as we discuss the next 5 days, are going to be very, very interesting and important for you. And I would like to basically outline a couple of things for you to consider. I'm sure that the very learned faculty members from IGNO, NEPA, from Calcutta, from NSOU itself, all of them are going to deal with all these issues. But I'd like to outline some of the issues that you may like to pay some attention to. First, I think after the 5 days of the deliberations, if each and every participant in this FDP would be clear about the definition of learning outcomes, that itself is a major success for your program. I think we discussed a range of outcomes in just in the last 2-3 minutes when I was explaining about NEP and OBE. We already discussed numerous outcomes like interdisciplinary approach to learning, gaining 21st century skills, becoming global citizens with ethical and moral moorings. Here is where I think the educators are facing the challenge. Now, we need to really, keeping all this in mind, we need to define what the learning outcomes are we going to pursue. What do we want our learners to learn? Do we want our learners to learn history? Or do we want our learners to learn geography or political science or management? Or do we want our learners to also learn all these outcomes that we talked about? So that's something that very important for us to keep in mind, because it is the knowledge from our teaching or the skills that they hone and the competencies that they gain or even the value system they imbibe. These are the ones that are going to make the difference. So I think we need to focus on the definition of our learning outcomes, be it our programs or courses or micro-credentials. We need to really define it from an OBE lens. So if that is done, half of the job of the idea of OBE is done. Now, once we define the learning outcomes from an OBE point of view, in our own context, I think we'll have to pay some attention to the curriculum that we handle. We would not only introspect if the curriculum is aligned to the goal that meets on its own definition of OBE, but the question that would arise is that whether my curriculum is flexible, whether it is multidisciplinary, whether it is holistic, whether it's interdisciplinary, whether my curriculum would help the learner to prepare herself or himself for the future of the world of work and to deal with the complexity of the modern world that we live in. So that's something that we need to think about. After defining the outcomes from an OBE lens, we need to pay some attention to the curriculum to really introspect whether the curriculum is aligned to the goals. Once we know how to handle our curriculum, that we introspect, then we would be able to determine if and how we can introduce innovation in our teaching and learning processes. That's where the pedagogy comes into place. Are we incorporating various techniques, whether it's project-based, activity-based, problem-based, action-oriented, flexible learning approaches in the real-world setting? Or are we continuing with a kind of a theatrical style of delivering talks to our students where they simply imbibe, transact knowledge from one end to another? Or are they also able to really live through what the Bloom taxonomy talks about? And in all this, are we also looking at blended approaches, which are very different from the typical face-to-face education that we normally impart through our learning centers, the local resource centers and contact programs. So it's important for us to look at our pedagogical approaches and bring in the new innovations that have come into play. So once we do this, we should also look at, from an OBE point of view, how we can take a look at our assessment from a new lens, from an OBE lens, be it continuous or summative or formative or diagnostic. We need to really think through the assessment process. This is where I think a variety of digital tools that are at play, which I think many of our colleagues would be highlighting, would provide you a variety of assessment techniques in a variety of ways, be it instant feedback or analytical feedback through the use of AI tools, or even the dashboards of our LMSs that allow us to learn, 1,000 things about our learners and their learning behavior. So all these are important in our OBE. So from the faculty members' point of view, after defining our learning outcomes from an OBE lens, looking at the curriculum and introspecting the curriculum, whether it is holistic and interdisciplinary enough, looking at the innovative practices of teaching and learning where we can bring in innovation in pedagogy, we also have an opportunity to, from an OBE lens, look at the assessment. But once we carry out, it's not enough. OBE can be successful only when we learn to focus on student support and their wellness, be it academic advice or administrative advice. From time to time, in our university system, we need to really keep in touch with the learners in a manner that we know them very well. Even if we don't know them enough, through the application of digital tools and including AI tools, we could learn about our learners in a much more intuitive manner, so that we can bring out personalized learning experiences for them, so that the outcome-based education for everyone need not be a kind of an industrial production of the same type of graduates coming out of your schools, or learners with the same type of skills in a mass production manner. But through the application of use of digital tools, you could also make the OBE very, very distinct for individual learners, so that they are able to excel. So student support and their wellness is extremely important. Wellness is something that we have not really paid much attention to, but after COVID, we all recognize that student wellness is extremely important, and the success of students from accessing our programs and courses to succeeding in completing and also excelling in their life is largely dependent on the student support that we offer, be it career counseling or placements or various support systems that we offer them throughout their studies. So it's important for us to focus on the diverse needs of our students. And this is also another element that we need to focus on, where sometimes we only feed to the very able students. we need to keep in mind that there are people, learners with specific learning disabilities, learners with a variety of other disabilities who come and join us, who prefer open and distance learning as a natural choice. So we need to ensure that our student support systems strive to overcome all barriers leading to their success. That is going to be the best testament to OBE if we did that very well. But in all this, what happens is capacity development of our faculty and non-faculty members are often ignored, and they fall between the stools. In higher education systems, both the administrative and academic leadership should recognize the need for continuous professional development that fosters a culture of innovation and pedagogical excellence, in which teachers end up being facilitators who create, who develop well-rounded future citizens who would actually lead the world. If you look at the Indian society, every sixth person in the world would be an Indian. And it is also mentioned in Australia, the India-Australia Education Forum, in the presence of our education minister, somebody mentioned that every fourth person who would receive a tertiary degree would be from India, which means we are contributing to the global citizenry in a very effective manner. So this is where we need to pay a lot of attention to our faculty members and non-faculty members in their capacity building programs. So in conclusion, recognizing all this, I would like to congratulate both Professor Lagri and Professor Negi for doing just that, becoming the champions of OBE in their respective universities by encouraging their faculty members to gain newer skills through programs of this kind in a collaborative manner, using digital techniques at their aid to doing this in a very cost-effective sense. So my congratulations once again to everyone involved in this effort. But before I close, I wanted to also mention a sentence, a long sentence, which the ChatGPT produced for me. I simply asked the ChatGPT as to what I should speak today in this inaugural session. And it said, which I read out to you now, NEP 2020's components are intrinsically linked to the principles of outcome-based education. By focusing on holistic development, institutional restructuring, quality, autonomy, research, innovation, equity, inclusion, regulatory reforms, vocational education, teacher education, student support, and internationalization, the policy aims to create a robust education framework that ensures students to achieve their specific measurable learning outcomes. This alignment with OBE principles would ensure that the educational systems not only impart knowledge, but also prepare students for real-world challenges and opportunities. Thank you so much.